Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. There's a lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in the night will guide you.
Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and welcome to tonight's live stream. Oh my gosh, do we have an absolutely amazing story. You know, there are some amazing people in South Africa, and Melodie is very definitely one of them. I find it somewhat remarkable that so many unsung heroes like Melodie put their lives at risk every day, not just their careers. While the media in South Africa sing the praises of advocates who happily hide behind their own careers and related income, while often doing nothing to help the poor in these troubled times. Heroes like Melodie have opened their hearts to an unselfish truth. People like Patrick, Annery, Chris, Davy and Oom Dirk would never compromise their vision by putting up a false flag. These are just few of many who have put their faith in God first. I know who the real heroes are, and they're people like Melodie from the Cradle of Hope, who you will meet tonight. Tonight we will find out more about how Melodie started the Cradle of Hope in Krugersdorp West many years ago. Today, without ever receiving any form of assistance by the corrupt ANC government, she supports thousands of people through her charity, the Cradle of Hope. Let's find out more with a short video before getting Melodie on. I will be talking to Melodie tonight in English, even though this video is in Afrikaans. Here we go.
Lewe was perfek. Ek was getroud met 'n goeie man, 2 pragtige dogters, en toe op die ouderdom van 38 het my blinde darm gebars en ek was besig om dood te gaan in die hospitaal. En ek het, toe ek uitgekom het, besef dat die Here my lewe gespaar het vir 'n doel, en ek het begin soek na my doel. Ek het hongerkinders begin kos gee, 2 klein kleuterskooltjies gestig, en uiteindelik het my pad gekruis met baie van hulle se mammas en sissies, en hulle het my begin vra vir help. Hoe kom hulle uit hierdie situasie uit? Hulle is vasgekeer met 'n man wat dwelms gebruik, hulle slaan, en ek het begin soek vir plekke en ek kon nie kry nie, en toe besluit ek, maar dan maak ek een oop.
Vir solank as wat sy kan onthou het Melodie 'n hart vir afvlek voeltjies gehad, maar haar ouers het egter 'n stokkie gesteek vir haar planne om 'n maatskaplike werker te word en sy het onderwys gaan studeer. En is juist by hierdie 2 informele kleuterskole wat sy op die been gebring het, waar sy met soveel stikkende ma's in aanraking gekom het. Melodie, watse tipe gevalle klop gewoonlik aan julle deur?
Willem, dis oor die algemeen hooplose vroue en jong tienermeisies wat uit omstandighede uitkom wat vir hulle baie sleg was, omstandighede waar hulle in hulle huise baie erg verniel is. Baie van hulle kom uit 'n agtergrond van prostitusie, dwelmverslawing. Party van hulle kom uit die tronk uit, hulle het nêrens heen om te gaan nie. So dis regtig mense wat op 'n punt in hulle lewe is waar hulle geen ander hulp het nie en letterlik op straat beland. Die heel eerste mamma het 3 kinders gehad. Sy het in 'n tent in 'n plakkerskamp langs 'n dam gebly met 'n geweldige dwelmverslaafde, geweldige violent man wat haar en die kinders verskriklik verniel het. En sy het hier ingetrek. Haar oudste seentjie was 8, daar was eenetjie van 4 en dan 'n baba dogtertjie.
Maar julle het plek vir 30 vrouens en kinders hier. Hoe besluit julle wie om in te neem en wie nie?
Ons is baie sterk op 'n hand up and not just a hand out. So dit moet vrouens wees en jong tienermeisies wat gehelp kan word om uiteindelik hulle self te help.
Hoe
Well, there you go. That gives you a little bit of background to this remarkable woman. And just as a bit of background, if you would like to help financially, support the Cradle of Hope with a donation, the charity's bank details are in the description below this video. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed and ask any questions you might have for Melodie anytime in the side chat. These will be put to Melodie during the second part of this live stream. Right, now let's get Melodie on, shall we? You've seen enough of my ugly mug. Here we go. Hi, Melodie. Hi, Melodie.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there you are. Now I see you. Can you move your camera down just a little bit? That's better. Perfect. Right, I've just done a little bit of intro about your work at the Cradle of Hope. And yeah, if you can just move your camera down just an inch. I'm missing half your chin. There we go, that's better. That's perfect. Okay. Now, before we get into your charity and the work that you're doing, which is absolutely amazing, please tell us about your life growing up in South Africa.
Scott, I've got something running here in the background, getting on my nerves. I just want to put that off.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Take your time.
Yeah, there it goes. Okay. All right, so what would you like to know?
Okay. Tell me about your childhood growing up in South Africa and, you know, how your life, you hit a couple of really bad points in your life and how you turned it all around. So just take us through that whole, basically your life story.
Okay, I was an only child and I grew up in a privileged home. And we were middle class, but things were good. And my mom and my dad were both damaged souls. And I had to endure quite a lot of emotional abuse and manipulation from both my parents throughout their lives until they passed away eventually.
Right. And did you grow up in Krugersdorp?
I grew up in Crosby, which is close to Brixton, which is a suburb of Johannesburg, which is approximately a half an hour's drive away from Krugersdorp, going Johannesburg way.
Okay. And you got married to a wonderful man, didn't you? And you had a couple of children. Tell us about how that came about, and just take us through that period of your life.
Yes, I was fortunate enough to marry a great man 35 years ago. And we actually grew up together, but he is 5 years older than me, and his sister was one of my best friends. But because of him being 5 years older than me, I wasn't really friends with him. Although when we were small, we used to play together. And he actually met me when I was 9 days old. My mom and dad and his mom and dad stayed in flats in Turffontein together. And my mom had me, and then when I was 9 days old, he met me. And my dad recalled that he thought at that stage, his words were, I wonder if this little bugger is not going to become my son-in-law one day. And then when I was 19...
It was obviously love at first sight, wasn't it, when he saw you 9 days old?
He used to torture me when we were children. I remember him breaking my toys and hanging me on the washing line, and then,
and you married him,
turning it around, and it was never hurting me, but we used to play together when we were children, when our parents used to visit. So I do have memories of that time,
So, when you were 19, was that when you got married, was it?
No, well, we started dating when I was 19, and we got married just before my 21st birthday. So, and then we've got two daughters. The eldest daughter is Christine, she's 30, and our youngest daughter is Alicia, she's almost 26.
Right. Now, you had to go to hospital, didn't you? You had something happen to yourself. Tell us about that and how that changed your life.
Yes, I was very much materialistic and fortunate and privileged and very worried about what the Joneses would say. My mom raised me repeating to me 4 or 5 times a day that what would the people say regarding anything? What would the people say? And so I was very much focused on what the people would say, and trying to live a life, the perfect life, which was exhausting. And I landed up in hospital at the age of 38 with a burst appendix, which was misdiagnosed for 9 days. I had gone to the doctor 3 times, yes. I had gone to our doctor 3 times in a period of 9 days, and he kept on sending me home saying that I just had a stomach bug. And so eventually, one night at 10 o'clock, my husband was at our daughter's school at a meeting, and when he got home, I was very, very, very sick. I had been very sick for 9 days. I couldn't walk, I had a strange color, I had so much pain, I was vomiting, and this doctor just kept on misdiagnosing it. And so my husband came home from the meeting, and I was waiting, and I said, you know what, just take me to casualty, let's just write the children a note and say to them, we just gone out quickly, we'll be back soon, and the alarm has been set, and don't worry if you wake up in the night and we're not here. And we left for the hospital, and thank God I had a good medical aid, and the doctor on duty was clued up, great doctor. And when I walked into casualty, he knew me because he gave me one look and he said, you have a burst appendix. And I said, how do you know that? And he just diagnosed it within 3 seconds of seeing me. So I landed up in hospital, and I had to have 2 very big operations because by that time I had septicemia, the whole intestine, and everything had to be packed out and cleaned, and I lost a piece of my colon, and so I ended up with septicemia in ICU on life support.
And so what happened after that?
So while I was in hospital, I just came to the realization that,
Sorry, guys, we seem to have a iffy signal. Just see if this could reconnect.
I don't care what the people say. People.
I would just, yeah, you're back again. Sorry, we lost a little bit of that. So tell us what happened. You went through this terrible period of your life, and then you came to the realization that you could do something. So tell us about that.
Yes, well, in hospital, almost dying, you re-evaluate life, and I realized that no car, no money, nothing really counts. What really counts, and I was dying, so I thought, what have I accomplished in my life? What legacy am I leaving? Why, I'm dying now, and what have I done? So when I came out of hospital, I realized that God had saved my life for a reason, and I started searching for the reason. I was very angry. I was never angry at God, but I was angry at everybody and everything, because I was raised to be fortunate, and bad things happen to other people, not me. It just doesn't happen. And yeah, at the age of 38, I found myself dying. I was very angry. I had a lot of questions that I had to work through, which took me quite a while.
Right. And you found what you were searching for. Tell us how that happened.
So I, for a long time, had been thinking to do charity work. My husband is a chartered accountant. He has his own audit and bookkeeping firm. So I had been working by his firm for many years, since he started it 30 years ago. And in the mornings and then in the afternoons, I used to fetch the children from school and do the homework and the whole mommy thing. And my life was great, but there was definitely something missing. So after coming out of hospital, I just knew that I had to do something. And I nagged my husband for about a period of 2 years, where I felt that, I need to go out and do something. And at that stage, he needed me at his practice. And then God worked it out that we had owned a piece of land which we bought for very little money a long time ago, and we got to sell this piece of land at that stage, which gave him the financial backing to be able to tell me that I can go and do what God is calling me to do, and he could employ someone and pay them a salary to do my job. So I was still involved with the firm for quite a while after that, but I started helping in the Coronation Park White Squatter Camp, which was right across the road from my daughter's school. Right. I helped there not because it was white, but because it was right across the road from my daughter's school. So I could drop them at school in the morning, and then I could go and work in the squatter camp. I fed the children, I looked after them. I started a an informal little tiny nursery school in a 30 square meter wooden hut, trying to teach these children colors, shapes. There were 5-year-olds that could not sit on a chair at a table. And feeding them, making sure that their tummies were full, washing the lice out of their hair, looking after their wounds where they'd been burnt in a fire or running somewhere, their feet were broken. So I started doing that. And then I used to go and fetch my children after school, and we used to come home and for a while. And then what happened was some of the mothers, well, quite a couple of the mothers and the children and the sisters of these children were coming to me saying, Tannie Melodie, help us, please. Well, I could help them with food. I could help them with a shoulder to cry on. I could help them with toiletries, but they were begging me to help them to escape the poverty that they had been trapped in, living in a tent or a caravan next to a dam, having 2 or 3 children, having an abusive husband, maybe on drugs, him and them. Tannie, how can I get off the drugs? Help me. Not finishing their schooling. Definitely a problem. Some of them only had grade 9 or grade 10, and then they fell pregnant. There were girls that were pregnant with their father's babies.
Oh, no.
And that opened up a whole new reality to me of these moms who were trying, these young girls who were trying, but were trapped in circumstances of which they just could not escape if they were not helped.
Wow, that's shocking what you just said there about the young girls and their fathers. That's just terrible. So what happened was you set up this charity. Did you call it the Cradle of Hope from the start, and where did you start?
Yes, well, we were a group of friends that got together, which I called together, friends and family members that had shown an interest in helping people. And we got together on a Saturday morning at our house, and we started the Cradle of Hope. We registered for everything necessary. We chose the name, and the Cradle of Hope was formed in 2007.
Right. Okay, so you've been going now for about 13 years. Now, you started from your home. Tell us how the Cradle of Hope has grown since that time. Melanie, do you hear me?
Is normal. Yes, I hear you.
Okay. What I said was you started your charity about 13 years ago. Tell us how it's grown over that period of time.
Well, after establishing the charity, God specifically spoke to me and told me to find a need and to fill it. And that has taken us places where nothing about us is normal. I started looking for a place to help them to help themselves. And I could not find a place.
Sorry about the reception, guys, but this is
God
South
told
Africa.
me.
Carry on.
So we bought a huge house in the name of the Cradle of Hope, and a house of restoration, because something that also broke my heart was that in many instances some of these moms were really good moms. They were trying. And then social services would come and remove their children. So wrong. I realize we can help mothers to help themselves, we would have so many less broken families.
Right.
So we got them children.
Now, today you're helping thousands of people in Krugersdorp,
And
aren't you?
then, yes, we are. Yeah, we have so many projects, and we've been finding needs and filling it all the time. And God supplies, and He's our provider. So we have the House of Restoration for mothers and children. We have our one-day emergency women's shelter, which is a shelter for women. A first step. The police bring them, they come crying, they're being abused, they've been raped, they have nowhere to go, they are homeless. We have a community nursery school called Cradle of Hope for Jesus, where we have 76 of the community's children attending. Many of these children would never have been able to attend a preschool. To me, education is the key to escape the circle of poverty. And if you do not have a preschool grounding and you are not school ready, you will not probably do well at school. If you are 5 years old and you cannot sit on a chair at a table, how are you going to cope in a classroom with a tired, stressed teacher, having children with 8 different languages, and there's maybe 40 kids in the class, and 90% of the time this teacher is doing riot control? How on earth will you cope? So we focus on school readiness, and most of these children would never have been in a preschool because they cannot pay fees. Their parents just cannot afford it. Or in some instances, the parents are addicted to drugs. And yes, the children are left to fend for themselves.
Yeah, well,
At this level.
on Sunday night, you're going to be joining us in a live stream where we're going to have several people on. And one of those people is actually a lady who went through very, very bad times, especially during this lockdown. And she was at the point of ready to commit suicide because she couldn't get food, she was desperate, and just by chance she got Patrick's number. Patrick's the guy from Farmers Aid. And I see Mel is here, and Mel, your donation was actually used to basically save this woman's life, because that money was used to buy food for a whole lot of families. But this lady in particular is going to be on Sunday night, owes her life to Mel, who's with us here tonight. But yeah, let's get, I mean, people don't understand, I think, how tragic and how desperate people are in South Africa, and how severe the starvation and the desperation issues are of so many, and in particular the minority groups who are being absolutely ostracized and persecuted by the ANC government. Now, talking about the ANC government, you've always said that God will provide and God helps, and He always does come to the party for you. How has the ANC government helped you in any way whatsoever since you set up the Cradle of Hope?
Nothing. Zero. Not 10 rand. Ever.
Now that's the ANC government under Zuma and Cyril Ramaphosa. And these guys are corrupt and on the take all the time. Now, okay, let's get away from politics. It just riles me when I hear what you've just said there. Now, something happened just a couple of weeks ago, where, and we'll get back to the facts behind this in a second. But you were giving people peanut butter sandwiches, weren't you? And then they told you couldn't. Tell us about that.
So once again, find a need and fill it. So 3.5, almost 4 years ago, 2 soup kitchens close to where we are in West Krugersdorp closed down. And a lot of people were coming to us asking for food, especially children in the afternoon after school. And once again, find a need and fill it. I found that God was talking to me about these hungry people. And we started getting 15 breads a day and making peanut butter and jam sandwiches and giving it to these children and a couple of adults. And within 3 months, the need had grown to 80 breads per day.
80 loaves of bread.
And 80 loaves of bread per day.
Wow.
And we kind of stabilized on 80 loaves a day for the last 2 years. So we got volunteers and they come in the mornings. The bread is fresh. It gets delivered to our nursery school. Our kitchen is beautiful. The volunteers come, they spread the bread, and then the bread gets handed out from our house of restoration from around 11:30 every day. And we've been doing this for 3.5 years. We have our regular people, homeless people, mentally disturbed people, a lot of elderly people, lots of children. And we built a relationship with these people because we were handing them bread every day for 3.5 years. And so when the lockdown started, we kept on doing this. We also included some days we had some nice hot soup and other days we had some nice hot stews because a lot of these people had now lost their jobs. They couldn't work. And the children were not in school. And at the schools, they were mostly part of the feeding schemes. But the schools are closed. So they weren't getting any food, except for the peanut butter and jam sandwiches that we were giving them. And then some days we would have a hot meal as well. Then about a month ago on Sunday, I can't remember the date, but it was a Sunday, 29 April, the government released proposed guidelines for food distribution in South Africa during COVID-19. Only proposed guidelines. This was never taken to court, never had the stamp put on it, was never promulgated, was only proposed. But these proposed regulations were being, in many areas, forced down on people. And of course, I like to do the right thing, always. I try and do the right thing. I realized that these regulations did not include hot food, so we stopped giving the hot meals. And it's winter, and it was the only meal for a lot of people. But we kept on with the peanut butter sandwiches. And the people were coming, so we had volunteers who eventually we perfected social distancing. The people were standing far apart. We had loads and loads of sanitizer. We handed out masks. We did our best to comply with the regulations. We had the areas sanitized. We were trying our best. But the people were getting more and more because more and more people were hungry and losing their jobs and the schools were closed. So we ended up, and we still are now, with having to provide peanut butter sandwiches with 300 loaves of bread every day.
Wow, 300?
300. And we had quite an operation going. We had the volunteers come in, everybody wore masks. You know, we really tried to comply and to not risk anybody. And then we had a lot of people coming, and I put some red plastic cones out in the street just to warn the cars to be careful because there were people and children. And a metro policeman from Mogale City Metro Police came and bit my head off and told me that I'm not allowed to block off the road. And there were hundreds of people. And I tried to explain to him, I know I'm not allowed to block off
Sorry,
the road.
guys, it's just the internet.
But please, someone needs to help me. There are people here, and someone over by a car. And he listened to my reasoning. And eventually I said to him, well, if I stand next to the lifeless body of a 3-year-old, will you help me then? And he looked at me and he said, that's not mine. So I can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. So I'll just cover what you've just been saying, because it wasn't coming through great with the internet. But what you're saying is that because of the number of people coming to get peanut butter sandwiches, it got to a stage where you had to put out red cones to warn people driving by that there are people on the road. And the next thing you knew was a metro police officer came along and said, you got to stop doing this. And he refused to help you in any way whatsoever.
Yes.
So what happened then?
Well, he did refer me to someone at the Metro Police offices, but he also said if someone does get run over, that's not my problem, his problem. And so I removed the cones and we didn't put them out again. And then I the contact number on the permits that had been issued to us by Department of Social Development. We and other charities had to apply for a letter of authorization to hand out food parcels only. No food at all.
So no peanut butter sandwiches?
No, just food parcels. The letter of authorization said non-perishable items only, and preferably delivered to the homes of the beneficiaries. So I'm the regional director who issued us with the offer for help.
Right.
I had some questions. She talked to me, and she said to me,
Sorry guys, this is typical.
with the regulations.
Yep, carry on. She said the regulations?
We have to comply with, yes, we have to comply with the regulations, a letter of authorization, which items, which technically meant that I also couldn't give anybody a banana or a cabbage.
What?
And so I realized that I'm going to have to stop with the peanut butter sandwiches. So we went outside and we told everybody in the queue that they needed to not come for sandwiches anymore, which was extremely disturbing because we knew that we were going to pick up trouble. And the next day, we did not hand out sandwiches, but at 29 minutes past 11, and we normally started handing out food and sandwiches at exactly 11:30.
Right.
A police van pulled up across the road.
I've got a picture of that. There it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
A police van with two policemen pulled up across the road and sat in the van checking us out. We took a photo. What I also did was we had a lot of people wanting to know why we are not giving them food anymore. And some of the people that we give food to are drug addicts. They're worthy too. They're hungry. We don't judge. We don't discriminate. But when they have had their drugs or they are perhaps mentally disturbed, they are violent. And we were threatened because now you're not giving us food anymore. You're getting government funding. Why aren't you feeding us? And we try to explain, but you can't always reason with everybody. So I took red cardboard and I wrote the reason why we had been stopped on the cardboard, which we stuck on the gate, which caused a huge uproar. Because I said on the cardboard, I wrote and I said, the ANC government has stopped us from feeding you. If you need food, please go to the DSD, Department Social Development offices at 16 Heman Street and ask them for food. They've stopped us. If they stopped us, now they need to feed the people. Right. Which they're not doing. And that caused a huge uproar. We had many officials visiting us, taking photos. We had a representative from the ANC Youth League come the next day saying that the ANC Youth League was planning to arrange buses full of their supporters wearing their T-shirts to come and riot in front of the house. And I said, that's fine. So if you want to come, come. And he said, I must take down the sign that says the ANC stopped us from feeding the people. And I said, I will not. And he said, but it's provocative. And I said, well, I'm happy that it is because it's the truth. And otherwise you would not be here now. I also invited him to come for just an hour, not a day, not a week, just 1 hour of his time to come and sit at the gate. I even told him that I will make him coffee and he can come because he said he understands how difficult it is for us. And I said, no, you don't understand. Come for an hour, sit here and you look into the eyes of the hungry people that come and stand here and beg for food. And you tell them, no, I can't feed you. And of course, he did not take me up on my offer.
Now, just to be clear, when we talk about hungry people, this is all races. It's white, colored, black, Indian, it's everybody.
Yes, the Cradle of Hope does not discriminate at all on any grounds. We do not see color and we help everybody.
And here you had the ANC government preventing you from distributing food to starving people. And not only that,
yes,
but the police parked opposite your house to ensure that you abided by their illegal laws that they had actually just put in place to prevent you from feeding people.
Yes, it actually got to a point, and I need to show you something. I actually packed a bag. This is my jail bag.
Right.
I actually packed a bag. And I carried this around with me wherever I went for 2 weeks. Wow. With warm clothing, medication, and a toothbrush. Because we were petrified that we were going to be locked up because we were distributing food. We also continued, even though we left the peanut butter sandwiches, we continued to distribute food parcels, but we did not have the required permit or the letter of authorization to say so. We also had to get a new permit, a new letter of authorization every day.
Wow.
Which was 4 pages long, printed in colored ink, issued by the Department of Social Development per day. Ridiculous. And the problem was that many of the people that we were feeding couldn't cook the food. A lot of them are homeless. They live under a bridge. They can't cook food. Many of the people that we were helping are so poor, they don't have electricity. They can't cook the food. Now they were making fires which could cause their shacks and their houses to burn down. And many of these people had no other food. So they were becoming malnourished. We could see that the children were losing weight. It's very, very traumatic to look into the eyes of a hungry person and say, I'm sorry, even though the Constitution of South Africa, Article 27, states that you have the right to sufficient food, that was being ignored.
Now, you took legal action, didn't you?
Yes,
You were forced to. Tell us what happened.
Yes, after I had put up the red sign saying the ANC government had stopped us, there were quite a couple of law firms that contacted me that said that they would take the case on. And luckily, we were very blessed to be contacted by Herter and Spies, a firm of attorneys in Pretoria, and AfriForum and Help in a Hunt helped us with the court case.
Solidarity are fantastic.
Yes, through Herter and Spies. AfriForum got involved, Help in a Hunt got involved, Kali and Hannes, and it was really awesome. But we chose to journey with them because they had already at that stage written letters and appeals to the government because of the ridiculous regulations that were being proposed. And they immediately got involved, dedicated a team to us, and we prepared a High Court appeal, an urgent High Court appeal, to request the government to withdraw these regulations that were being forced down, that were not legal. And our court date would have been on Tuesday, the 2nd of June. And 2 days ago, DSD issued, Department of Social Development issued a statement saying that they are withdrawing the proposed regulations.
Can you just read us that letter?
All the time, all the effort that has been wasted, the energy, the money.
It's crazy.
It's just totally, it's crazy. Oh my word, I had it here now, you asked me. Yeah. Okay, Gauteng Province, Social Development, Republic of South Africa, to all media. Date 28 May 2020, immediate release. Gauteng Social Development withdraws guidelines on food distribution. Acting MEC Panyaza Lesufi welcomes and acknowledges the work done by donors who continue to donate food parcels across province. The Department of Social Development is withdrawing the guidelines for food donations and distribution despite receiving donations in kind from all organizations, companies, civil society bodies, and individual citizens across the province. This comes after an extensive engagement with the Premier's office on challenges raised by other organizations who found the guidelines difficult to use for distribution of food to our communities. However, this withdrawal doesn't stop anybody from working with the department on food distribution. The department will continue with its formal process of using the toll-free number and email referrals to conduct its work across the province. Issued by the Department of Social Development Gauteng. For more information, please contact the spokesperson of the MEC, Tabiso Glongwane, and then his name and email address and cell phone number, or the Director of Communications, Motsamai Motlawa, and their details.
Right. Now, how has that release by the DSD impacted your operation? What does it mean?
Well, we could immediately, and all other NGOs doing the work that we do, we could continue with feeding people. But it's not easy getting the logistics of 300 breads per day just up and running again.
Right.
Remember now, we've had financial losses. We had people that were donating bread to us who had stopped. We had committed volunteers that were coming every day who had no more, they weren't coming anymore. We had peanut butter donors who had stopped donating. So to get this whole exercise up and running is taking us a couple of days. We have to find the bread, the money, because we had a bread donor for 100 breads a day. The other 200 breads we had to buy. We pay R7.20 for a loaf of sliced bread, which gets delivered to us. Yes, it's a special price and it's great. But to get everything up and running, we had to let the volunteers know, and a lot of the volunteers have now started working again. So we have to find other volunteers. So what we did was, yesterday we had a donor, which was absolutely terrible. We had a donor that phoned me on Wednesday and said that they would be bringing 650 cooked chicken stew meals at 12:30 yesterday. We let the people know to come. Some of the people were in the queue from 10 o'clock yesterday morning because they are hungry. And then the donor by 1 o'clock still had not arrived. Him and I had a huge row. And eventually I told him, he threatened to turn the truck around, and I threatened to put it on Facebook. And eventually, when they did arrive, by that time, we'd already fed everybody. Once again, God is our provider. Thank God. We had a lot of meals from someone who donated to us the lentils and rice mix, which you just mix with a little bit of warm water. We handed that out. And some baked beans. Baked beans is great. So everybody had something to eat yesterday, for which they were very grateful. Today we had beautiful soup and fresh bread. And then from Monday onwards, we're running again with the peanut butter and jam sandwiches.
Now, I was going to ask you, do you get much support from local supermarkets when it comes to food?
At this stage, we are getting a lot of support. Before this, not really. But the last month, the community has really rallied together, and we have been getting quite a lot of support. Yes, it's great.
And really, when you look at the history of your involvement with the ANC government, all they've ever done is put spanners in the works. I mean, they've done absolutely nothing to help the Cradle of Hope, and they've done everything they can to cause trouble for the Cradle of Hope. That basically summarizes the situation since you've set up this operation.
I did approach DSD 12 years ago with stars in my eyes. I had a meeting with a lady who wasn't interested with what I had to say at all. I told her that I want to open up a shelter for these women and children. She was very disinterested. She looked at me chewing bubblegum and said to me, we don't need any more shelters. Shelters promote poverty. That were her exact words.
The logic factor is missing in action.
I thought, whatever, I'm going to do this anyway.
Yeah.
I did apply for their funding for I did apply a couple of times. It takes months. It's a 5-year projection. It's stats and more stats. And we don't do stats. Very seldom. To us, it's not about stats. It's about people that are in need. When we do stats, it's basically just because we like to know who we help and how we help. But for the government, it's all about stats. And they don't answer their phones. There's hardly ever someone in the office. And then when we did apply, 6 months later, you find out what's going on, and they can't find your forms. They've lost up us at that stage one single day, and I something happened in my head. I just realized that I only work at the Cradle of Hope. I'm the manager. I'm the CEO. It's not my charity. Yes, I started it, but it's not mine. It's all God's. He is our provider, and I just need to do the job. So I need to do what I can do every day. And we approached this whole thing with working with daily bread. Just daily bread for today. So my husband, being a chartered accountant, he's learned to, he wants budgets and business plans and projections, and
Right.
And he's learned to also just trust God. When I say 80 bread is not enough, we're going up to 300 breads a day, then that's cool. And God supplies our needs. We don't have many meetings discussing things. A lot of organizations and churches, they have to have 3 or 4 meetings before they will decide to buy a child a pair of school shoes. We don't work like that.
Right.
If a mother, and we get ladies from right across the country. So if a mother and her children arrives at our gate, and they've come from Krugersdorp, and they've been brought to us, and they're abused and battered and hungry and cold, we will, if we do not have anything in our crisis cupboard, we will go to pep stores and buy the children a pair of shoes and socks for today. They need it today, not in 3 weeks' time.
Right.
And that I think is what makes us different.
Okay, now, I was just about to ask you, what sort of items are you needing most right now, apart from food?
Well, food. Well, we always need clothing, blankets. Blankets at this stage. We have not been getting a lot of blankets, and the people are cold. Since 3 days ago, it's really freezing. So normally we've handed out hundreds of blankets by now. So blankets are a great need. And then items for our food parcels, and then peanut butter and jam and bread. Definitely, yes.
Okay, now, let's say I lived in Krugersdorp, or I lived in Johannesburg, and I had a few blankets which I could donate to your Cradle of Hope. How do I do that? What's the process? How do I actually get them to you?
Well, people can drop off at our gate at any time. They don't have to come in. They don't have to sign the donations file. They don't have to handle the pen. Even though we've got sanitizers everywhere, they can do that. Otherwise, at some stage, we can collect, but we are really busy at the moment with collections. Being it have been locked down, a lot of people have sorted out their houses and their garages. So we are quite busy with loading, our truck is quite busy, our bakkie, with fetching stuff from places. We also don't have the resources to just drive anywhere for 2 or 3 bags of clothing. So what we do is we get people who say they want to donate, and then when we have 6 to 8 pickups in a certain area, then we send out the bakkie for the morning or the afternoon to go and do a round trip and to pick up. But we just don't have the resources, for instance, to travel to Johannesburg for 6 blankets at this stage, a special trip. We can't do that. If we have other pickups in Johannesburg, maybe in a week's time, we can definitely do that, but not today and not tomorrow at this stage.
All right, so someone watching this video has got a car, and they've got free time, and they want to participate. One of the really useful tasks they could undertake is to go and collect blankets around Gauteng and stuff like that, and then deliver them to your door.
Yes, that would be wonderful if that would be a person with a righteous heart. unfortunately, in previous instances, we've had people that have offered their services to do that, and the items never reach us, ever.
Oh, wow. I can't believe that.
People, humans.
You must see the real good and bad in life doing what you do.
Yes. There's a lot of good out there. My faith in humanity has been restored in the last 2 months. We have had so many wonderful people coming to help us and donating and contacting. But on a daily basis, I definitely also get to see the worst of what humans can do to one another. Horrific things that happen that break my heart and traumatize us. And, you just can't believe what people can do and how they can hurt one another.
Just
so
shocking.
that's bad. Yes.
What is your address in Krugersdorp West? If people listening, perhaps someone in one of the moderators can actually write this into the side chat. So what is your address in Krugersdorp West?
It is number 37 Dekker Street. It's Dekker, Dekker Street. It's on the corner of Dekker and Herbert Streets. It's a huge double-story, orange-brown colored painted house with a green roof and green palisades, which is in need of a serious paint. By the way.
Corner of which street with Dekker?
Herbert.
Could you spell that?
Herbert.
Herbert Street. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that into the side chat here for a second. Oh, there we are. Erica's done it. Thanks, Erica. And that's Krugersdorp West. Now, is there a phone number to the office that people can call?
At this stage, our office phone, it is crazy. A friend of mine has it for the weekend. The requests for food parcels are flooding in.
Wow.
We receive 40 to 50 requests per hour. We are not coping with answering the WhatsApps and SMSs. It's pouring in. The phone is ringing all the time. It is. If you have to see this to believe it. The best way to get hold of us would be to send a WhatsApp, and that would be to Sharon.
Yeah.
Sharon, and her number is 079
Right.
049 5802.
Sorry, 58?
5802.
Okay, so it's Sharon on WhatsApp.
Sharon.
079 049 5802. If someone could just put that into the side chat as well, please, that'd be fantastic.
To try and get hold of us now on the office phone and even my phone, it's just crazy. The need is huge.
So how many people ideally would you like to, if they can volunteer, how many people are you looking for, and what sort of jobs can they help in? Because I think that's a big issue you have right now.
Yes, at this stage, definitely donors, volunteers, 3 or 4 per day. We do have a couple that we've managed to get hold of this afternoon. 3 or 4 per day to come at 8:30 in the morning. Obviously, we'll take their temperature. We do the whole COVID-19 questionnaire. They have to sanitize their hands, wear masks, and then to come and help us to prepare the 300 loaves of bread and make the peanut butter sandwiches.
It must be so rewarding for you when you actually hand that food over to these people who are desperate. Just seeing their faces light up. I mean, this is God's work that you're doing in an incredible way. And I think anyone who comes in and helps as a volunteer would be totally addicted to this after a couple of weeks, because you realize how incredibly good the work is that you're doing.
We do have a couple of volunteers that have become regulars. Awesome people. It actually quite often happens that these volunteers are deeply traumatized initially. They end up crying, they end up going home. Some of them just can't handle it. It's not easy seeing this. You know, a lot of people, and that's where I was 17 years ago, we live in our little bubble. And we know there's poverty out there somewhere, but it's far away and it doesn't bother us. But when you actually get to see this, a lot of our volunteers also are people that have been scarred. They have their own story. Maybe they were raped when they were young and they've told no one. And they come and volunteer. And what is great is eventually they start sharing their story. And their story brings them healing and brings hope to other people who are going through similar circumstances. We like to teach the ladies to turn their scars into stars, to make their pain their purpose. In the first year that I was doing charity full-time, working in the squatter camp, my own daughter was gang raped. My eldest daughter was in her matric year, and she was on a camp in Natal, South Coast, and she was gang raped. And that almost also killed me. It was a very long journey to come where she is today. She also started dating a young man who had a terrible past, and he abused her for many years very badly, up until a point where we had to get the police involved with a protection order against him 5 years ago. So, you know, bad things happen to good people, and you have a choice. You can let it kill you. I always say when I talk at ladies' teas and functions, you know, some people die at the age of 30, but they get buried at the age of 82. So life happens. We all have a story, and bad things happen to good people. And then you have a choice, and that's what we teach the ladies that come to us. What are you going to do about this? Are you going to feel sorry for yourself for the next 48 years? Or are you going to overcome this thing that tried to destroy you? And are you going to step out from here and go and help other women in your own community where you will eventually end up to overcome bad things that have happened to them? And that brings hope and healing.
I just have to say, Melodie, that you are an absolute inspiration. I just think what you're doing is quite incredible. I just want to address the side chat and people watching right now. Please, guys, if there are questions you'd like to ask Melodie, just put them into the side chat. And if the moderators can just please copy and paste those questions later, and I'll put them to Melodie. Please remember to subscribe to this channel to be kept informed. We have live streams most nights at 8 p.m. Johannesburg time, and we have a range of topics that we cover. Now, the other thing that I want to say is that getting back to you, Melodie, now you mentioned that the lockdown has had a huge impact on the number of people who've been put out of work and are now starving in just Krugersdorp. I mean, is this just like just going parabolic in the growth of starving people in your community?
The growth of starving people in all communities has escalated to a disastrous proportion. The food parcel requests that we are getting at this stage are from all over the country. We can only assist at this stage West Rand families. we are getting requests from, what we do is we ask, when the request comes through, we have an automated message that asks the people if they can collect from us. At this stage, we have got people from Tembisa, from Rustenburg, from Berea in Johannesburg, Hillbrow, Joburg Central City, Western area, who are collecting food parcels from us if they can, who are scraping together a couple of rand or getting someone, a neighbor maybe, to come and fetch from us. It is heartbreaking to see the messages. Some of the people send us photos of their children, of their babies, and they are begging, please. Many of them also say that they have applied to the government's SMS line in March already. We're at the end of May. These people have not got food. They are starving. It is a massive, massive problem. Lots of people have lost their jobs, and I seriously don't think that the people at the ANC have a clue, an idea of what is going on the ground.
Well, the ANC are clueless. There's no question about that. You know what really I find absolutely extraordinary is that you look at people like Dlamini Zuma and Ramaphosa, and you can see they're putting inches around their waistline during this lockdown because they've got plenty of food in the cupboard, and they probably drink like fish when they're not in the public area, and that's just a hypothesis by me. But you know, I have to ask this question: the mainstream media, have they given you a fair go when it comes to covering how bad things are getting in South Africa?
With the court case that has been hanging now for 2 weeks, the media has given us reasonable coverage, yes. I've met some awesome journalists who have done stories which have been wonderful. I must say that no one has done any harm to the Cradle of Hope. All the stories have been very supportive and very very positive. Yes, the thing about the cigarettes, you know, you can't just take away someone's cigarettes.
Yeah.
At the Cradle of Hope, we work with harm reduction. So a lot of the ladies that come to us have been heroin addicts or crystal meth addicts. Now they're not using the drugs anymore, but they are smoking. Now they can't get cigarettes. It's a volatile environment. You can't just do that.
Yeah, well, look, I had a video sent to me earlier this evening from a fellow in Pietermaritzburg. His name's Stuart. And Edward Zuma has got a factory in Pietermaritzburg where illicit cigarettes are trucked out every single day from this factory. It's got security all the way around it. He sent me the video. I've got the video, which I'll put up later today. There are guards all over the place. No one is raiding that factory because it's a Zuma factory. And, you know, that's tied up directly with Dlamini Zuma, who apparently is the person who's running the country today, not Ramaphosa, because she heads up this NCC, which is illegal. It's unconstitutional, and there are people who are trying to bring that NCC down because it does not represent all the ministers. It's only 7 of these elite, headed up by Dlamini Zuma. And the thing with banning cigarettes is clearly, and this is my conspiracy theory, but it's clearly so that these illicit cigarettes being sold by Edward Zuma and the Zuma family, they can make a huge amount of profit because they don't pay any taxes, they don't go through legal means, and they're charging something like 5 to 10 times the price of cigarettes, the normal price. You know, it is a scandal. It's an absolute scandal, and I find it extraordinary that the media are not giving or putting the screws on the government about this. They all seem to be scared of the ANC.
Yes, I have heard the rumors about Zuma's son being involved in the cigarettes. My life has been consumed with peanut butter sandwiches and the fight for it for the last 2 weeks. I'm not clued up. I've heard the rumors. It would not surprise me. I have got friends at this stage who are paying 800 Rand for a carton of the cheap cigarettes, which before the lockdown cost 80 Rand.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's a racket. It's a complete and utter racket. And this is what really disturbs me about the mainstream media in South Africa, which is why I asked you the question. Because you said that the ANC have no idea how bad it is on the ground. You know, the mainstream media should be shouting from the from the rooftops. The front page should be South Africa, starvation crisis. It should be headlines all over the place, because this is a tragedy unfolding underneath Ramaphosa's watch, and he's completely clueless. He has no idea what's happening behind the scenes.
Yes, when he said people can smoke again, and Mrs. Zuma said no, that brought about a very large load of, who's actually running the country, who's actually in charge. That wasn't a good move. That was a bad thing. A lot of the people also that are getting bread from us are very angry because they now understand. Their eyes have opened up. The lady that works in my house, when I told her this morning that we, can go on with the bread, she was overjoyed. She started crying. So they're losing a lot of clout with this. And I really don't think they know what's going on the ground. One of the things that was the proposed regulations was that all the food that gets donated needed to go to a central point in Boysons. And there were donors and farmers saying, we will not send our donations there. We will destroy our crops. We will destroy our fields. But we will not let our donations into the hands of the ANC. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, well, the ANC trying to centralize distribution of food parcels. This is what really pisses me off, and excuse my French, but what really pisses me off is that Ramaphosa says we're going to hand out 250,000 food parcels, okay? And then the next day you hear that the ANC cadres are having these trucks full of food parcels delivered to their homes, and they're keeping them or selling them on to a local spaza shop or something like that. And there's so many examples of spaza shops where you've got these tin cans which are like sardines, where it says not for sale, this is a charitable item. Yes. And this has been sold in a spaza shop because some ANC cadre has intercepted the food parcels and is selling them off to his mates. This is a scandal that the media should be really tackling, and yet again it's like what's happening on the ground. They just don't touch it.
The level of corruption is ridiculous. It is completely out of hand. One of my colleagues also lost a whole load of millimeal between in Krugersdorp and Western area, which landed up by a councillor's house. These people think they are untouchable. They just do what they like. And the corruption is totally, they are robbing the country. There's no heart for anybody. Very few of the people that are officials that I get to work with are looking out for their neighbors. It's really all about what's in it for me.
Yeah. Well, look, I find it really annoying when they talk about white privilege. They always come out with this white privilege. And in South Africa, clearly, there are only two classes of people. And the one class is very elite. It's called black privileged. And those are the people like the politicians, their mates, their family, who are all on the take, the councillors, they're all on the take, and then you got everyone else, including John and Lovo in Soweto, who's getting nothing. They're all starving. There's a huge chasm between these two groups, those on the take and everybody else who's starving. And I just think that this ANC government, the best thing it can do is disband, and the adults in the room should come in and take over the show, because, you know, at the moment the kids are running the classroom.
Reversed racism in South Africa is very real. There's nothing fair about it. People, I think, you know, you get white people hating all black people because of what's happening in the country. And I always try and explain to people that we are all, well, mostly everybody, we're angry at the ANC government, who happens to be mostly black people. But that should not make us angry at all black people.
Oh, exactly. And that's why I make the point. That's why I make the point, Melodie, that black privilege is just those few who are well connected at the top, and they're doing very nicely, thank you, and they don't give a flying you know what about anybody else at all. They're just creaming it up, and then the rest of the black population are starving, and they're worse off today than they were pre-1994, much worse off.
Yes, there was a program on television a couple of weeks ago on Carte Blanche about the Alexandra township, and how 11 people were supposed to be under lockdown, crammed up in a tiny little room where there's one tap for 300 families.
Crazy.
Dripping water. And how do they want, if we did go ahead with the regulations of the central distribution point, there's just no way that the logistics could have worked. The NGOs like us that have been working in our communities for years, we know our people. We know the people that we are serving. We can bring rapid and effective relief very quickly. We don't hand out one basic food parcel to everybody. How many people are there in the household? 2 or 15? Is there a baby? What does the baby need? Is someone diabetic? How do we help that person?
Right.
Do they have dogs and cats? If they have dogs, we add dog food to the food parcel. You can't just rock up with a truck and hand out basic things to it. And another thing is, you know, a lot of the people don't have IDs. So I have a lot of people asking me when they come and fetch their food parcel, and of course now we've got their name and address and we give them a time. They say, what should they bring? And I say, nothing. And they say, but shouldn't I bring my ID? And then I say, yes, you can bring it if you like, but I'm not going to look at it. They're hungry.
Yeah.
How do you turn away anybody who doesn't have an ID?
Yeah. No, it's just disgusting. Look, I was speaking to a fellow who's a co-owner of a machine company in Pietermaritzburg, funny enough, called Clifford Machines, and they develop very good ICU ventilators here in South Africa. And there is so much red tape in actually getting those ventilators accepted that they couldn't produce these ventilators because they had to go through all these different organizations. And now the government is actually getting donations for ventilators from overseas when there are companies in South Africa that can actually produce the ventilators. But because of the red tape, it's not happening. This government is absolutely clueless. And you know, they couldn't organize a barbecue in a park with a coin slot machine. All you have to do is put a coin in the thing to heat it up. You know, they just don't have a clue. As long as they're taking money, they're happy.
Unfortunately, it seems that way. And but we need people to do the right thing. Evil prevails if good men do nothing.
Yeah.
And God has always had our back, and right through this whole court case, and the High Court urgent appeal, I knew that what we are doing is the right thing to do. It wasn't easy. It was very scary at times, but someone had to do something. We could not allow the government to go through with these proposed regulations that would bring about total disaster.
Yeah.
Total disaster. Even now, the people that we were feeding, they haven't had food for 18 days.
Oh, no.
Old people.
Oh, no.
Children.
Sure.
Really? How can you deny someone a sandwich? Just a sandwich? Peanut butter sandwich?
This is just ridiculous.
And you deny them that? You take it away? And you promise to bring them food and you don't?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, look, this is so upsetting. I just find it extraordinary that, it is a gangster state that runs South Africa. That's the trouble. It's not a government. It's a gangster state. Look at Ace Magashula. Look at David Mabuza. They're both corrupt. They've got clearly, and they've never ever gone before a court. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Now, just a second ago, you mentioned God. How has God supported you? Give us some examples how God has supported you in a time of need.
Well, as I said earlier, we work with daily bread.
Yeah.
And if you work at the Cradle of Hope or you live there, you will run into God a couple of times every day because the miracles happen. And it is, if you haven't seen this, you will struggle to believe it. But the more we hand out, the more we get in. And sometimes there's not a cent left in our bank account. And then 2 hours later, someone walks into my office with a check for 100,000 rand. Sometimes our food store will be running low. But we always kind of manage to get through. There's always a can of baked beans or a loaf of bread or something to give to someone that is hungry. And then someone will phone or a truck will stop and we'll get canned foods or mini meal or cabbages. It's really actually amazing to see, and that keeps me going. I think that keeps everybody going, is knowing that God knows our needs. He will provide, and we do trust Him, and we work with today's bread. So we don't hold back for tomorrow or the day after. Of course, if we've got 500 loaves of bread and 300 gets handed out today, then we've got 200 for tomorrow. But we will never send anybody away that is hungry if we have got something to give to him. We work and run with today, just today. Don't be afraid, just for today. And that just works for us, and God is there all the time. The miracles come, and we don't Bible bash. We don't believe in Bible bashing, but God knows our hearts, and He sees our hearts, and He knows what we need long before we need it. A while ago, the ladies in the house, we got some bangers donated by a store, and they wanted to make mashed potatoes. And I said, I'm not buying potatoes. We've got maize meal, we've got samp, we've got, what was it? A lot of the rice. And I said, but I'm not buying potatoes. And it wasn't about the 60 rand for the bag of potatoes. It was about learning some lessons. Because many times some of the ladies that come to us have been on the street and they've been eating out of dustbins for a long time. And then they come to us, and in 3 weeks' time, they complain because they're having vors for, twice a week. So it's about teaching them gratitude and responsibility. And I said, I'm not buying potatoes. And for a long time, this was before the lockdown, we had actually not received any potatoes in any donations. And they kept on for about 2 weeks asking, they've got the bangers in the freezer and we really need potatoes. And I said, no. And then one morning, we have a morning meeting every day to sort out all the nonsense and who needs everything. Candace, who runs the house, she said, okay, let's pray for potatoes. And everybody held hands and they prayed for potatoes. And about 2 hours later, we started getting potatoes. Wow. And by the next morning, we had gotten in, and we told no one, I didn't put this on Facebook or anything. We prayed for potatoes. And by the next morning, we had 13 bags of potatoes. Wow. And a huge load of other vegetables as well. And a lot of the girls in the house, the ladies in the house were going, wow, because a lot of the people that come to us are angry at God. A lot of the ladies that come and live with us and come to us for help are angry at God because they've been abused and raped and had a difficult childhood, and then they think it's all God's fault. And we need to then teach them that God is a loving God, that He wants to do you good, that He wants the best for you. And, when I was small and a lot of people, when they are small, and my mom always used to tell me that, Jesus is watching me. And I grew up thinking God was this angry old man somewhere in the sky, just waiting to zap me if I do something wrong. And I had to, after I almost died, realize that God is a loving God. He wants to do us good. And the ladies, many of them, the one lady actually said to me that she's never going to be an atheist again. During lockdown, a couple of weeks ago, one of the ladies who helped me run the house, we were standing outside talking, monitoring the queue of people getting food. And we said, we need to get more hand sanitizer. We actually, one of us voiced it. I think she voiced it. And we discussed this, saying we need to get more hand sanitizer. And a big bakkie pulled up and parked up the road a little bit further. And two guys got out wearing masks and they were walking towards us. And we were talking about we need to get more hand sanitizer. And of course, it's quite expensive. It's like 1,000 Rand for 25 liters. And as we were discussing our need, these guys walked up to us. And the one guy looked at me and he said, hello, do you need hand sanitizer? Oh. We've got 50 liters for you.
Oh, fantastic.
And the lady I was standing with used to be an atheist.
Yeah.
And she loves God now. She's found the Lord. And she was speechless. And her words were, I'm never going to be an atheist again. And we were just gobsmacked. We stood there. And we see this kind of thing on a daily basis. But at that stage, once again, while we were discussing the need, these guys were already stopping, walking towards us with 50 liters of hand sanitizer. So it's times like that we realize that God is in control and that it's His charity, and we just work there and we must do the best we can every day.
Robert Williams has said, I've just offered to come up to help Cradle of Hope. I have transport, a SASSA pension, am an entrepreneur, millwright and fitter, healthy and ready to help. So should he WhatsApp Sharon, should he?
Yes, I think he must make contact with Sharon. We desperately also need help at our men's shelter. There's a beautiful men's shelter in the Krugersdorp CBD. And yes, we always need men there as well. We actually, if I can be quite frank, I don't know Robert, and he's probably a great guy, but we've had a couple of men who have infiltrated our House of Restoration, trying to marry off our ladies into cults and coming to scout ladies to be used in their strip clubs and bars
you
and
joking?
for human trafficking purposes. So we are very we have to do a background check and a police clearance
Yeah.
on men. Sorry, it's just lessons that we've learned in the last 13 years. So yes, he can contact Sharon and we can start the process and we can see how he can help us. I can't unfortunately just allow any man or pastor or anybody to come into the house and connect with the ladies. Many times, 9 out of 10 times, it's been a disaster. So we've learned to be very careful with that.
Right. Okay. Now, I just want to confirm Sharon's WhatsApp is 079-049-5802.
Yes, 079-049-5802.
Okay, Robert, that's the number to WhatsApp, and
Yes.
Sharon will get back to
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Robert.
Now, I've got a few more questions here. We might as well get to some of these questions now. Mikhail Picara has asked, what progress has this angelic organization made to get back up and running after the court win?
We've never been closed. We've been up and running all the time. The only thing that has been stopped and closed was our peanut butter sandwich project, which will be fully functional and up and running from Monday again.
Right. So basically, it's like a little speed bump in the road and you're up and running.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Obviously, we need peanut butter and bread and funding, but yeah, we'll be up and running from Monday.
Just talking about funding, if people want to donate money to the Cradle of Hope, I've got the banking details and the PayPal email address directly below this video in the description. They can just pay it straight into there.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay, now Quinton Nagel has asked, are we allowed to drop off small donations at the address, or should we accumulate and rather deliver in 2 weeks from now?
Whatever suits Quinton. If he wants to drive through and drop off something at the gate, he's most welcome. Otherwise, in 2 weeks' time, if he has more, that'll be awesome too. Thank you.
Great. Now, Corey has asked, Melodie, what protective clothing do you wear?
We have masks and face shields, so that was donated to us. Other than that, we wear our normal clothing. However, our feet, every time we go out of the property and come back, the bottom of our feet are sprayed with very strong hand sanitizer, which is a 70% alcohol base.
Right.
And our hands, of course, as well. The hands, yes, definitely. We've got bottles of sanitizer everywhere.
Okay. Now, guys, if there are any other questions you want to put to Melodie, please get them in now. Okay. I want to ask you, what are your goals, your future goals? Now, you mentioned earlier that, you have got some kind of goals, but what are your future goals for the Cradle of Hope?
Sustainability, obviously. We've come 13 years, we've come very far. We're a great team of people, staff members. We formed a wonderful team of committed people. I'm so grateful for them. They have been working long hours, coming in on Saturdays and even some Sundays, just trying to make a difference and feed the hungry people, sort donations. Yes. Always sustainability. I think to be able to know that, we're human. We do say that we trust God and we work with daily bread, but it becomes stressful, very stressful in a human nature. But we've learned to just go to bed and sleep and give it to God.
Right. Now, while you were talking, I actually got a message from Patrick from Farmers Aid. And he confirmed that he will be joining us on Sunday night at 8 p.m. So you'll get to meet Patrick on Sunday night. Just talking about Sunday
Wonderful.
night, guys, let me tell you what's happening. Let me just get the information here. Here we are. Okay, so on Sunday night at 8 p.m., the main guest is going to be Jacques Pappenfuss, who's developed a food mixture which is very inexpensive. It includes rice and a whole lot of other dried food substances which are mixed up, and he's actually now delivering that to several of the charities around South Africa. In fact, he delivered 100 of these parcels apparently the last couple of days to Patrick at Farmers Aid, and also to Anari at Go Purple Foundation. Now, both Patrick and Anari are going to be joining us on Sunday night, as of course is Melodie, who I'm talking to now. So we're going to have a bit of a chat about the food issue and how this food that Jacques has come up with, this formula, could help a lot of starving people in South Africa. And one of our guests is going to be Petro, who's actually a lady that Patrick has helped, and she was at the point of committing suicide when Patrick interceded and delivered food to her. She was absolutely starving. So we're going to be hearing firsthand what is happening on the ground, and this is because of this corrupt ANC government. Just really pisses me off. Sorry. Okay, now Chelsea Wu asked, does anyone know of charities like this in Port Elizabeth? Do you know of any charities like this in Port Elizabeth?
No, unfortunately, I don't.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess being Port Elizabeth, that's not surprising. Question from Negotiator to Melodie. Can they not grow their own food gardens? Now, that's an interesting question, because what Patrick has done for some people is he's actually bought them seedlings, and they've planted these seedlings, and they're now growing their own fruit and vegetables in their lots at the back of their homes.
Yes, that's always a wonderful initiative, and we have a couple of food gardens going as well. But someone who is mentally disturbed or homeless living under a bridge can't do that. Also, a lot of these people, there's a house, and then there's a whole family of 6 or 7 people living in one bedroom in the house, and it's being rented out to them by a landlord who's making a lot of money. And every single square meter of the stand has got little shacks on it and is built. So there's no soil or ground to do this. Even our food gardens, a lot of people come to us and they donate seeds and they come and help us plant them, and we get the children involved. We've got a lovely food garden up at the nursery school, but we have to water the plants to keep them alive, and we just can't afford the water because we don't get funding and we don't have 3,000 Rand a month for water. So it's not that easy to for everybody to just grow a food garden. Obviously, if they can do that, we do highly recommend it, and it's awesome to become self-sustainable. At the nursery school, the vegetables we grow there, the parents know they have access to. So if they need some spinach or they want tomatoes or they're hungry, they can come and fetch vegetables from our vegetable garden.
Fantastic. Now, Quentin Nagel says, we will make a plan, have to go that way to deliver dog food to Fora. So we'll come around there with peanut butter and whatever else we can get. There you go. So,
thank you, Quentin, for helping Fora. Fora is very near to my heart. Thanks for helping them with dog food.
Now, what time do you open and what time do you close every day?
We never close.
So you could arrive at 7 o'clock and there'd be someone there in the morning.
Well, it's a house, and Yes, it's a house, and the mothers
Ah.
and children, they live there, so
Right.
there's always someone. But we try and stick to 8 o'clock to about 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
Right.
for safety reasons as well.
Okay.
You know, there's a time when we lock the gate, because a lot of the ladies come from households where they have been abused or trafficked, and their pimps are looking for them, their estranged husbands are looking for them. So we like to stick to office hours just for safety reasons as well.
Now, just talking about that, do you have much problem with the ex-husbands or the pimps coming around and trying to cause trouble?
We've had that. Yes, we've had problems with that. That's why we're very careful who we allow onto the property. We've definitely had problems in the past. Couple of hair-raising incidents, yes, most definitely.
Wow. And do you find the police are cooperative?
Well, we had an incident 5 weeks ago. We phoned the police. They never came. The community policing forums are awesome. They're really, really great. But now, during the lockdown, they are not allowed to work. So we don't really have anybody that we can contact, that we can make sure, because the CPF, we have the radio, and if we radioed for help for any reason, medical reason, someone got hurt, any trouble, within 3 minutes we had 10 cars come with people who helped us. But with the lockdown, the CPFs have been stopped. They're not allowed to work, which has caused crime in normal areas to escalate, definitely.
Wow, that's just shocking. And the South African Police Service, as you say, they just might as well not be there.
Well, I've met some pretty awesome police officers and a brigadier who contacted me and offered his help. Obviously, as it always is in life, you get your good guys and you get your bad guys. There are some very awesome police officers that we've been journeying with, but mostly if you just phone, no, I doubt we'll get any help if you don't know someone and have their personal number.
Right. Okay. Well, guys, look, this is the raw truth about what's going on in South Africa. If you aren't in South Africa, if you're like in Australia, or if you're in the USA, or you're in Europe, this is what's happening on the ground in South Africa. You hear it firsthand. And these are stories that we need to let the world know about, because what the ANC government have done to this country is absolutely disgraceful. I'm just going to see if there are any final questions for you here. Melodie, yeah, Matthew Duplessis. I'm thinking of a hydroponic system, 90% less water and land required. I'm some Rose of Warner's 1971@gmail.com. Can you make use of my services? I bet you can. Is that something that you'd find useful?
We do have a piece of land in Tolton, 18 hectares, that is owned by the Cradle of Hope that we bought 12 years ago. And we have 156 souls living there. That piece of land, we had the Department of Agriculture come out a couple of years ago, and the gradient and the soil quality of the land is perfect for, if I remember correctly, hydroponic, what are those fishies? Tilapias, to do the whole tilapia hydroponic farming thing, where the fish droppings is used to fertilize your veggies. But at that stage, we did contact someone in South Africa who does this for, it's their business, and we needed something like R1 million just to get it started up.
Wow.
And yeah, we just don't have that kind of money. If we could get the funding, the piece of land is available, the people living there know our vision, we've shared it with them, but we've just never had enough money to even start thinking of getting this whole thing running.
Okay, now, just so you know, Melodie, I've put his email address into Skype for you, so you can actually email him later. And I just want to say thank you to Matthew Duplessis. I hope that you're able to help this amazing organization, because what you're suggesting would be a fantastic outcome. All right, now guys, if there are no further questions you have for Melodie, just remember, tomorrow night, Saturday night, we're having another jamming session. We've got 3 musicians coming on, and we're just going to have a fun evening, or just a relaxed, informal evening. You'll be able to make song requests and stuff like that, starting at 8 p.m. And then Sunday night we get really serious again. As I said earlier, we're going to be talking about this food mix that's been developed, and we're going to be having Melodie there, who's our guest tonight. We're going to be having Patrick Fisher there. We're going to have Anari from Go Purple Foundation, and we're going to have Petro, whose life has been turned around by Farmers Aid, which is Patrick. And Patrick is doing amazing work, but it'll be a lovely time for these people to network and share ideas and hopefully be able to work together and cooperatively in the future. Now, over to you, Melodie. Is there anything that you would like to say to everybody watching this video right now? Just a message, something you'd like to share with people and people who might watch the video later as well. I'm giving you the floor.
Well, I was asked a question this afternoon by a television crew who came to do a TV show on the Cradle of Hope. And the question was, what do I want to say to fellow South Africans? And I really want to, from the bottom of my heart, plead with people to start looking out for one another, to just reach out to someone in need. If you make a sandwich to take with you to work and you can afford to make another one, just do it. Hand it out on the way to work. You know, Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed 100 people, then just feed one. And a project that we started a while ago, which is working very good, is if you have any 2-liter or even smaller cool drink bottles, juice bottles, cool drink bottles, fill them with water when you've finished your cool drink. Fill them with water. Freeze them. And then when you drive to work, put them in your car. Hand them out to the people begging at the traffic lights. We don't realize how thirsty these people become, let alone hungry. Thirsty. They stand in the sun. It's summer. Sometimes it's 30 degrees. They can't just go and get water anywhere. They get chased away from businesses. The garages don't want them there. So where do they get something to drink? So we started this project a while ago where people bring to the Cradle of Hope, bring us their empty cool drink bottles. And we freeze the bottles at the Cradle of Hope. And we hand them out to some of the homeless people who fetch peanut butter sandwiches from us. It's not going to cost you anything, a little bit of water. Also, at my own home, I freeze our cool drink bottles, and when we put the refuse bins out on a Tuesday, we put the bottles, frozen bottles, next to the bins. And the people, the recycle guys, who a lot of people call the dustbin diggers, but they are actually doing a great job because they are recycling. They are doing something that we don't do. They get those bottles of water. And it really makes a big difference in their lives. And it's something small that you can just start doing. And if you can't feed 100 people, please, if you can, just feed one. That is one less person going to bed tonight hungry. And that's my message. Just do something. Start and reach out. That is the way we will heal the world.
Right. Now, I've got a couple of questions that have come through, and I need to tell you a story here, Melodie. There's a young farmer. Look, Davy, I know you aren't that young, but look, I'm the old fart here, okay? Just get over it. Now, Davy is an amazingly generous man. He lives at Bultfontein. He's got a farm, and about a year ago now, I guess it was, that we had a live stream like this, and we were talking about donations and stuff. And Davy put a comment in the side chat, and he said, "I will donate 1 ton of maize meal," just like that. Now, Davy has since then worked very close with Patrick from Farmers Aid. They're like brothers. I mean, I know they're just inseparable now. And Davy has said, how much maize meal does Melodie use in a month, sir?
Davy, before the lockdown, we were using 600 kilograms a month. That was basically what we needed to keep all our projects running. Now, I actually can't tell you. It's maize meal at this stage is gold. It is staple meal, and we put it in all the food parcels. But I can tell you, according to our stats, that before the lockdown, it was 600 kilograms a month. At this stage, we are handing out 80 to 120 food parcels a day, containing probably 2.5 kilograms of meal each. We do get the bigger bags. We do have volunteers that come and pack it in smaller bags, but the 2.5 kilogram meals now per day, 100. That's 250 kilograms a day for now.
Wow.
It's vast.
Wow. Okay, now I also have to tell you that Davy is one of a handful of channel heroes on Loving Life. You know, his generosity is extraordinary. What I'll do is I will put Davy's email address into your side chat on Skype after this live stream, so you can just email him direct. You know why he contacted you or why he's speaking to you. Now, Andre Harpsleaf has said, please ask Scott, why not put out the hydroponic system to investors who require limited yield instead of donors? Well, Andre, if you've got a way that can be done, please let Melodie know.
Yes, that would be awesome. Thank you. I'd really like that. Yeah.
Now, Andre, if you could just put your email address in the side chat, if you are able to help in that way, please do. And I will send that information through to Melodie so she can contact you direct.
Thank you.
Okay, look, are there any other people who want to help? Okay, now Matthew Duplessis says, great idea. I built one system for 8,000 Rand and I can grow 180 lettuce and cabbage, etc. Wow.
Wow, impressive.
Well, that would be a fantastic. So, Matthew, are you saying that you're happy to try and help Melodie set something up on that land that they've got?
Yes, we can definitely look at that. Please contact me. That would be great. Let's chat. Who knows?
And if there are any other people who would like to volunteer or don't forget, if you want to donate, please just... okay, Matthew Duplessis says, let's do it. So
thanks, Matthew.
So I've put Matthew's email address in your side chat there, so you can actually contact him direct. Davy, I'll just put your email address through in the side for Melodie as well, so she can contact you. Now Davy's just written, we'll look into this, sir, for a donation to her for maize meal in about 3 weeks. So
wonderful.
Thank
you so much.
You can rely on Davy. He's just an amazing man.
Thank you, Davy.
All right. I don't see any further questions, guys. I think we've had a very, very productive live stream. I think you've made a few new useful contacts, Melodie. And look,
Yes, wonderful.
this channel will obviously support the work that you're doing in Krugersdorp West. Not many people know this. I actually grew up in Krugersdorp many years ago. This was back in the early 1980s, and lived in the suburb of Rantendal. And yeah, I actually love Krugersdorp. It was such a beautiful little town, but I don't know what it's like today. Michaela said, please, Scott, give Fiona Timms my email address. Yeah, but that's fine, Michaela. I'm happy to do that. You know, on the side chat, a lot of the people come in every single day, and they know each other, and they want to now start contacting each other by email. So it's like a family here.
Lovely.
Okay, now Andre Hartzley says, hi Scott, I'm disabled pensioner, but will market Melodie's details. That's fantastic, Andre. Can you please put in your email address, Andre, so I can just forward that to Melodie. Just going through the side chat here. Mikhail says, I love this lady. She is a shining example for all whites and people of South Africa. And that is so true. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live stream very shortly. Don't forget Sunday night. Melodie will be joining us again at 8 p.m. And please take care. To the moderators, Ron says, is it a disco night tomorrow? Yes, Ron, we're having a jamming session. We're going to have three singers on, doing live songs. Of course, one of them will be Winston Coetzee, and we'll have Hanley, the blind lady, and the third one, I think her name is Melissa, and they're all great singers. So that's tomorrow at 8 p.m. Johannesburg time. All right, I think we've pretty well covered everything. All right, thanks, moderators. Thank you for all those people who have come forward and said yes, we'd love to help. I'm just waiting for that email address of that fellow. Where was it? The pensioner, disabled pensioner, Andre Hartzley. Andre, if once I've got your email, I'm going to shut down this live stream. So if you can just put that. Oh, look at your cat. Is this the one that's very jealous about the computer?
No.
Is it?
No.
Oh, where's that one?
This is my wildcat. This is my naughty wildcat that I got from Fora.
I have to tell you what happened this morning. We were doing a test run with Melodie, and this cat's tail kept on appearing in the middle of the camera, and she said, yeah, this cat gets very jealous when she's on the computer.
Yes, that's my one cat. She can't handle the voice on the other side. So any Skype or Zoom or voice messages, she gets very upset. It's very funny to see, actually.
Yeah. All right, look, Andre, I don't know if you haven't got an email address, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Sonia's WhatsApp, or, sorry, not Sonia, Sharon's WhatsApp on the side chat. So you can just send her a WhatsApp if you can help. That'd be fantastic. Okay, Sharon WhatsApp, and it's 079 049 5802. So Andre, if you just send her a WhatsApp and just say, you know, can you pass on to Melodie, and Melodie will get back to you. Oh, here we are. I've got it now. Okay, here's Andre's email. Thanks, Andre. That's fantastic. I'm just going to put this in the side chat for you. Now, Andre's the pensioner, okay, who said that he can perhaps help. There we go. And he can help with the hydroponic stuff. Okay, there we go. I'll just put that into your side chat.
Thanks, I've got it.
And I'll put... now, Tim Fronimos has also said, please pass along my email. Okay, I'll do that as well. Okay, you've got a few people to email tonight. Melodie. Here we go. I'm not sure what Tim's got in mind, but there you go.
Thank you. Got it. Thanks very much.
Okay. I'll send you Davi's email address later, because I've got Davi sends me emails regularly. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live stream. I just want to thank our guest, Melodie, for the fantastic work that she does. I mean, she is a real inspiration. As so many of you say, you know, she's just an incredible woman. Now, Donovan says, why do your live streams vanish afterwards? They don't, Donovan. If you go into the main Loving Life home page, you'll see below there's a playlist with all the live streams, and you can just click on any live stream you want to go and watch. There are something like 160 live streams in there, so you know it'll keep you busy, and they cover just about every subject you can think of. All right, I think we've pretty well wrapped up. Thanks, guys, for joining us tonight, and don't forget, Saturday night we're having a music jamming session with the singers, and Sunday night we're going to have a group of people together talking about the situation in South Africa when it comes to food. With that, I'm going to wrap up. Is there any final word you'd like to say, Melodie?
No, I think this was great. Thank you very much. And yes, we're going to bed now and you facing the day. So I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day.
Thank you very much, Melodie. All right, guys, I'm signing off. And please take care, be safe. And thank you so much for those who've put their hands up and said they can help. We really appreciate that.